Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. And I'm back in Pokhara now, and thankfully I've had a shower and change of clothing, and I'm desperately looking, not trying to look like a tourist that's just done the Annapurna base camp trek with my t-shirt on here. So I think I might be giving it away. What I want to do on this, and I thought I'd do it while I'm still sort of fresh in my mind, and hopefully I've got a few things here, some things to think about if you've never done this trip before. So this is primarily based people who I've probably never done a through hike before, day hikers, and something that kind of sort of struck me about this, just some of my observations and things to think about. So things about sort of pros and cons, not so much cons, but things to think about. I think that's the point of this video really. So let's get started. So what you're going to get, you're going to get, and apologies I am reading off my notes here on my phone. You're going to get, obviously you're going to get dramatic scenery, you know, you're going to get the full-on hiking experience and unspoiled landscapes and nature, absolutely beautiful forests that you walk through, and the mountain tracks and the trails are just, you know, unspoiled, fantastic. Opportunity to mix with lots of great people. You'll meet loads of people along the way. Photos, yeah, you're going to get your fair share of Instagram-tastic photos, of course you are. And you know, I think you get into your swing of stuff, because I mean, it really is, every day is a wow moment. And from the moment you kind of go from the start of the trail, every day just builds up and builds up, and even the foothills are absolutely amazing. So when you see the high peaks, it just blows your mind, it really does. So it's a linear walk. So the nice thing about a linear walk is you're walking in, and you're gonna meet people on the trail that you can at different points and different tea houses. So I'll go on to talk about, you know, doing a solo or within a group in a minute, but don't be too afraid about it. Is the fact that if you're on your own, you're very likely going to meet other people, and you'll be able to dip in and out of conversations, maybe have dinner with them one night, and the very likelihood is, if you don't see them for a couple of days, you're going to see them either coming back down the trail or on the way up. So, you know, you're not going to be on your own, and that's a thing I learned later in the trek. So I'll talk to you a bit about that in a minute. Okay. Yeah, and the thing about photos, yeah, it might be cloudy one day, but if you get up early in the morning, I come in October, they're talking the hotel here that they said the monsoon season is later now because of climate change, so make of that of what you will. When we got to base camp, it was snowy on top, but it was, you see from my pictures, it was, you know, it was when we got up in the morning, it was just below freezing, I think it was. So it was just something to think about in terms of the weather. You know, it will be cloudy in the afternoon if you come in October, but it will clear in the mornings, and you'll get plenty of opportunity to take some photos. Okay, things to think about, and I have a long list of these things here. Okay, so I would say if you are booking through a tour operator, which is very likely you are, and you can go direct, I would. The interesting thing here about, if you confirm with your tour operator your accommodation, you'll pay for a block booking accommodation. But when you get to the tea houses, it is, and this is what I worked out, it's a bit of a, you won't be left without a room, but you may, at the worst scenario, people might have to walk onto the next tea house to get your accommodation. So just bear that in mind. If you're a sort of person you like it, sort of boundaries like that, you're going to have to be flexible. And I think that's something that I really had to, at first I struggled with, but then as the journey went on and the trek went on, and I was in safe hands, and Mr. Dill was all over it, because you know he's got a lot of contacts, and they tend to, I get the sense the guides tend to use the same types of tea houses, because obviously they get to know people, they bring back the business, and they've got sort of priority over other tour operators in the area. So have an open mind about the accommodation, and also will work itself out. You will get a roof above your head, so don't worry. At the beginning of this trek I was a little bit sort of anxious about that, but I think that was more to do with me not really understanding the fact he was trying to get me a double room, and when I said I'd be okay to share at some point in the trek, probably have to share with someone. So I'll talk to you about that in a minute, and that's fine. I met a lovely couple who were on the honeymoon from Australia, called Jamie and Nat, and they're a great couple. She was a vet and Jamie was a police officer, and they were really nice people, which did make me chuckle. They were on the honeymoon and they had to share at Annapurna base camp a room with me, but they were really, really good, nice people. And you know, Nat came over, introduced herself to me in the tea house, and that was so sweet of her, lovely person. And she'd actually worked over in the UK as a vet, only 20 miles from where I live, so that's pretty amazing, in a place called Mottram in North Wales. And Jamie, what a great guy, really interesting, police officer, nice lad, and just, you know, really welcoming, great conversation. So guys, you know, you really made a big part of my holiday, and I really appreciate that, and the time you spent to talk to me really meant a lot to me. Yeah, let me talk about that. So just, I would definitely say, if you're coming from, you book for a tour operator, make sure you, something I'm okay with now because I've kind of been through the trek and I met lots of people, but and it was in the small print, so I should have read it probably a little bit carefully than I did, but I would just make sure, if you are booking on a solo traveller like I did, and your intention is to come on with a group, so you can kind of gravitate, dip in and out of people's conversations and sort of, you know, at least have breakfast or dinner together. It has, talking to a few people where they've booked in a group, this tends not to always happen given the sort of amount of people that have obviously booked at the time of the tour. So you can end up coming with the expectation of being within a group, but also end up being on your own with a guide and a porter. So just something to think about, that, you know, put your mind in that space that you might well be on your own when you expect to be with a load of people formally in a group. But again, it swings and roundabouts. You know, I was watching on the first night, there was a group of, I think, Dutch and German people, and there was not a lot of chemistry going on, I must admit, and they all went to bed pretty sort of early and around dinner. So I think it's a case of who you kind of gravitate to and who you talk to. I generally, you know, I'll be honest with you, I've met French people, German people, Spanish people, Canadian, Aussies, Kiwis, a lovely girl from Holland called Michelle, just great people. Nina from New Zealand, fantastic. So, and you know, I just say, just be mindful of your expectations. You're going to be in a group, and ask the question before you book. You'll be your tour operator in the UK. So, accommodation is basic, I'll be honest with you. I think the big challenge that I found in some of the tea houses, like the one in Bamboo was amazing. It was fully wooden, cladded out, nice and warm, it was dry, and it felt sort of really comfortable. I've put a video in, but I got caught in a rainstorm there, massive thunderstorm, and it just felt safe in there. But some of the one that I stayed in at Poon Hill, the first day of the trek, by the way, is an absolute mare. You do about I reckon 3,000 steps. I think it's more like 5,000 steps. It is just horrendous. You're going to get tired, you're going to get emotional, you're going to get crabby and grumpy. So when I turned up to this tea house, and I was like on my own the first couple of days, I hadn't really mingled with people. The room I went in the afternoon, it was wet, it was damp, and the bed sheets were damp. I did try and tell the people I was staying there with, but I thought, I'm not making a fuss. I've got a roof above my head, be grateful. And I didn't sleep on the bed sheets, I didn't use a duvet, it was just too damp. I think they'd left the window open. When the clouds come in there, it's going to make the linen damp, so be aware. You're going to be, if you're from the UK, I think, being kind, it's a sort of 1 to 2 star at most accommodation. It is basic. If you're in the outdoors, you're into tenting and bushcrafting, you're going to get your head around it. But if you're into 5-star hotels, you're going to have a challenge. I'm just putting it out there. The accommodation is basic. Nothing wrong with it. It's clean, it's tidy, the food's fantastic, but it's basic. And some of the rooms I was in, the damp really got to me. It's October and it wasn't super cold, but the damp, your clothes are going to be damp and wet, and you try and dry them out. If you don't dry them out in the morning, when you walk in, you get to a stop and you have a tea, get your stuff out and put it in the sun, because in the afternoons you will not dry your stuff. I'm putting the next day damp gear on, and early in the mornings when you're tired and you're grumpy, it's hard work. So I struggled with that. So accommodation talked about, language challenge, obviously, yeah, you're in a foreign country, you know, English people, we expect everyone to speak English, don't we? Why wouldn't they? But my guide, I was lucky, his English was pretty good, and as the week got on, I think he understood my sort of phrases and I understood his, and we kind of got a good rapport in the end, so that was good. And anything that Sanev needed sorting out, he sorted it out. There wasn't any problem. So Mr. Dill, thank you very much, you're an absolute star. If you're on a walking trip with someone for 10 days solid, you're going to have to basically get on and understand each other. So that's been a really interesting part of the trip for me, and I've really enjoyed it, and I've probably learned more about myself than anything about, you know, as well as the walking, things about, you know, the adventure with capital A, really pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, doing things. This isn't a package holiday, this is full on adventure. So I'm just saying to you, get your head in gear. Like the showers, for example, you're gonna have a shower, and that's the thing, you can get Wi-Fi, you can get electricity, you can pay only a small price for it. But like the showers, there are showers on the way, but again, they're basic, and sometimes the water is kind of lukewarm rather than warm. So I kind of used to sort of alternate between 2 days without a shower. Make sure, you know, if you wash your face, your hands, the basics. Make sure you get sort of a wet wipe wash, and you brush your teeth. That's you know, you feel clean, you're all right. But then I had a shower every couple of days, so I was able to do that. So something that I really found out very quickly within the first couple of days: bin bags. Bring a couple of bin bags, because when you put your duffel bag and all your clothes, the porter, who, by the way, who's my age, and he's absolutely unbelievably, and the way he worked hard was just, it just blew me away. But of course, he'll be carrying the duffel bag on his back, which then will sweat, and as we all know, even the best type of waterproof gear wets through. So what's going to happen if you got your clothes in that duffel bag? The sweat's going to go straight through into your bag. So what I did is I learned very quickly to get bin bags, put my gear in that, tie the top of it, then put it in my duffel bag. So that worked a treat. So that really, if I could say anything to you, do that. Put your gear in your duffel bag, and obviously put them in 2 bin bags, but also put your sleeping bag in a bin bag so it keeps dry from the sweat. It's something dead simple, but it works. So foot care, I every day just make sure, because they say bring 3 pairs of socks. That's what I think that's the standard. Oh no way! I put about 8 or 9 pairs of socks in, because your feet are absolutely paramount. At the end of each day, I put athlete's foot cream on my feet. I didn't, very luckily, but I've got a pair of Scarpas which I'd worn before I come, and I had no reason to wear put any plasters on my feet, so that worked all right. I've been really lucky with that, so I'm happy with that. Your gear, I would say 2 pairs of trousers, 3 at most, and that might sound really shocking, but honestly, keep the weight down in your bag for the porter's sake. And you know what? I had 2 pairs that I wore, well, 3 pairs. Excuse me, I had 3 pairs of trousers that I wore, a pair of Berghouses and a pair of Revolution race trousers, which I've done a separate review on, and also my Fjallraven Kevs I didn't really start to wear until I got higher up in the altitude, because they're a heavier trouser, and I didn't feel the need to wear them, or when it's further down below, it is very hot. It's about 20 odd degrees. You're going to be boiling if you've got a hot, heavy pair of trousers on. And then actually, the porters, if you look at the porters, they're wearing trainers and trackies. So I would say 3 pairs of trousers at most, and then maybe a clean set when you leave your gear in Kathmandu. So you come back, you've got a nice fresh t-shirt, underpants, socks, whole gear, trousers to change into. Water bladder, an absolute must. You're going to be tired. You're going to be going up and down. I think I've said this a few times in my videos. You know, this really is like walking Snowdon every day, or Scarfell Pike every day, up down. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of steps. It is hard slog. They describe this as an easy walk. I don't even want to begin to think what the hard walks are like, because it'd be absolutely criminal. I just wouldn't want to think about it. So the food's great. Bring along your Imodium. You're going to get a jippy tummy, but that's not because the food's not good. The food is really good. I would stick to Dalbat, which is their local food. That's good. It's not too spicy. It's rice. I wouldn't eat any meat. I've become a vegetarian for the last 2 weeks, but I've actually quite enjoyed it actually, and I haven't felt so weighed down by my food. So interesting there. Water bladder, absolute must. Bin liners I talked about. Don't compromise on socks. You know what, if you haven't got a pair of walking boots, approach shoes will do this. This walk, I'm not joking, I've seen more people at Annapurna Base Camp in trainers at the approach shoes than really boots, because it's a trail. It's not, you're not doing any scrambling, you're not doing any sort of really difficult walks. The walk from Machu Picchu Base Camp to ABC is literally like doing sort of the Snowdon Ranger. I'm likening it to Snowdon because that's where I live and that's where I liken it to, but you know, you could do Snowdon in approach shoes, so I'd tell you this isn't really difficult. There's harder walks in Trivan, up the North Face. I'll be honest with you, it's more technical, Grib Gork for example. So this is really sort of a, I wouldn't say gradual walk because the steps will kill you. It's the steps that's going to get you. So I'd wear approach shoes to be honest with you. But then again, if you get your feet wet, I had approach shoes and boots. So something to think about. Duffel bags. I was going to buy one. I got a really nice rucksack before it came. The travel companies out here will give you a duffel bag anyway. They prefer that for their porters. They're more robust. So literally everything's carried in duffel bags, which they'll provide for you. They've got all the gear. They can give you a run through, and if anything you're missing, they'll always help you. You can hire stuff in Pokhara, the shops down the road, and also mozzie spray. Don't forget to bring your mozzie spray. I had a long shirt that my daughter had bought for me, which was fantastic one day because I had to cover my arms. Don't wear, you know, down below the temptation. Saw a lot of people with t-shirts. Unless you've got mozzie spray on, you're gonna get bit. And one of the reasons I didn't wear my Fiara Evan Kebs, and I opted to use my Revolution Racer trousers because the Revolution Racer trousers got vented, but they've got material behind. They've got netting, so that'll keep the mozzies out. Fiara's haven't, and they'll go straight inside your pants, and you probably get a bite where you really don't want to get a bite. So Wi-Fi is available at every tea house. Yeah, sometimes when the power goes off, you know, wow, you have to go out for a day without your Wi-Fi connecting. But generally speaking, I was able to connect back home, so that sort of anxiety that Westerners were so used to it, aren't we? You can get it. And then, right, something I didn't do, which I wish I'd done. I don't read a lot, I kind of watch a lot of YouTube, but my wife said to me, bring a book. Bring a book, because if you're on your own, you're going to have something to keep you occupied. So bring a book or something like a puzzle or a pack of cards. Someone that works, who's done this type of thing said to me before, cards. And I saw some Dutch girls the other day who were having a right good time playing some card games. So honestly, that's something, a little tip for you to do. Paracetamol. I didn't take any of my altitude sickness. I didn't really feel the need to. That's a personal thing, so I can't really give any advice on that. We went up to 30 and a half and I didn't really suffer too much. I think one day I had a slight headache. I didn't drink at all on the trip. I just wouldn't do it because it will throw you off a bit. But the paracetamol, I had like a couple, and it just sorted my headache out, and there was no problem. Just make sure you're hydrated all the time. Common sense, really. So, people do this for lots and lots of reasons, and hopefully you found this this rambling video, useful, and the things that I found. I'll be honest with you, I really enjoyed it, but this is not a walk in the park. Pardon the pun. This is adventure with a capital A. You are getting the real deal here. Don't be put. Do not think Annapurna is the poor relationship to Everest Base Camp. I've not done Everest Base Camp. I spoke to a lot of people, but I'll be honest with you, on my own experiences doing Annapurna, this is a full-on walk. It's hard slog. You're gonna be tired. You're gonna be emotional, but most of all, you're gonna have an absolutely fantastic time. So hopefully you found this useful. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll catch you all very soon. Where I'm going, who knows? Anyway, cheers.